What's up? I'm back. I got the TCE Hall of Fame Reverb 2 here. Awesome reverb pedal. Love this thing so much. Its popularity totally makes sense to me. It's a really nice pedal that's capable of doing a lot. So like usual, the first thing we're going to talk about is how to power this thing. I'm going to use the ISO brick as a point of comparison. Anything that's above 100 mA is going to work just fine. 100 mA of current draw and 9 volts of direct current, like most pedals nowadays. You can actually put a battery in this pedal too, and you do that by unscrewing this back here. So there's your little kill dry on and off switch right there. And the battery obviously goes right here. So there's my amp over there, comes down through here, goes into the noise gate, and then the reverb goes here. So noise gate very last, reverb, coarse, EQ, drive, distortion, compressor, tuner, envelope filter first, and then these two pedals, and then these two pedals are in the effects loop. You could very well put the reverb in the effects loop, like I said. In fact, that's something that I should probably try out sometime because I never do it. I always put it at the end of the chain. But now that we got that boring stuff out of the way, we got to talk about the controls on this thing because this pedal can do quite a lot. The most important aspect is probably the type of reverbs that you have on it. So you have the shimmer. What that does is it pitches up your reverb by an octave. It creates like a really haunting, very cool, otherworldly ambient vibe. The church reverb is kind of self-explanatory. It's the reverb that is meant to emulate, all of the different hard surfaces that you would find in a church. And then a plate reverb, that's an imitation of the old plate reverbs that were made with, I guess, plates. I don't know that much about old school reverbs, but apparently they were made mechanically, and they were done with like springs and plates, which is kind of cool. Additionally, you got the spring reverb that I just mentioned, and that's a similar thing. It's meant to imitate those old school spring reverbs that they used back in the day in traditional guitar amps. And then you have the lo-fi, and that's low fidelity, so it's meant to sound kind of like low quality. So it's definitely like a different effect on its own. And then the room reverb, that's imitating a small room, like maybe a small apartment, like an empty small apartment. The hall reverb, self-explanatory again, it's meant to be a huge hall or like an arena. The modulated reverb, that's meant to imitate putting coarse on the reverb, so it's supposed to sound like a lot warmer and it's supposed to like cut through the mix better. There's 3 spots for tone print settings. So these are obviously presets. This one's just like off. So the decay, that's controlling the length of your reverb. The level, that's controlling the amount of reverb that's in your signal. It's important to note that the level is not a wet-dry control. It's only controlling the level of the reverb, not your dry signal. The tone is just a treble knob, so that's going to determine how much treble is in your reverb specifically. Again, it's in the reverb and not your guitar tone. So I like how the manual puts it. They say that it can either be dark or crispy. The pre-delay, this little switch right here, this little guy, that's between short and long. So that's the time between the effect of the reverb and the actual source of the sound. And then finally you have the LED, nothing worth discussing really, but you got the MASH technology true bypass switch. So, you know, you press it once, that engages it, but you can also engage it by holding it down, and then you use it as like a mini expression pedal, which is pretty cool, I have to say. Not too sure why you can't actually use an actual expression pedal though, but whatever, it is what it is. And then of course you got your inputs and your outputs, your stereo inputs and your stereo outputs as well. Let's try a different one. Let's try some Hall type stuff. I'm gonna throw on some drive as well.